Blog Talk Radio. Chatting with Nat is a podcast for independent women seeking to speak their truth and to break down barriers. We host honest conversations that help to guide and empower women. Speak your truth and set yourself free. Let your voice be heard. Hi, it's me again, chatting with Nat, Natalie Jean, Natalie Jean, Nat. That's all you can call me. Today we're going to be chatting with singer-songwriter Kendra Muecke. Kendra Muecke is a singer-songwriter, writer, actress, and published author from Houston, Texas, based now in Los Angeles, California. She performs under the stage name Kendra and the Bunnies as a psychedelic folk rock Americana and spoken word artist. Her style heavily utilizes the element of storytelling through song, painting a creative experience for the listener. She has released 3 albums, charted globally at number 8 on the digital radio charts between Dua Lipa at number 7 and Miley Cyrus at number 9. Published 2 books, writes for several online music magazines, is SAG-AFTRA eligible, and tours nationally. You can read more about Kendra's music and writing in publications such as Jambase, Relics Magazine, Live for Live Music, or Live for Live Music, Live for Live Music, Denver Westward, Houston City Book, Grateful Web, Getty Images, Shakedown News, The Hollywood Digest, Indie Pulse Music, and more. Kendra has graced many famous stages, including the Viper Room, House of Blues Anaheim, the Mint LA, Kyoto's True Blue Denver, Molly Malone's Music in New York City, Trip Santa Monica, the Resident DTLA, Millennium Music Conference, Hollywood Post 43, American Legion, and more. Thus far, she has played as Kendra and the Bunnies in California, Colorado, Oregon, Pennsylvania, Texas, Arizona, New York, and counting. You can find out more about Kendra at her website at www.kendra, elizabethmuecke.com. Welcome, Kendra. It's nice to have you on Chatting and Nat once again on Blog Talk Radio.
Thank you so much for the shining intro. Thanks for having me.
Oh, you're just a shining star. My reading of your bio doesn't even exude who you are as an artist. You're awesome.
Yeah, thank you.
You're simply awesome. So, how did you get started in music?
Well, I've been singing forever. You know, I started singing and acting around age 4 or 5 in the theater, and there was just something so magnetizing about being on the stage, learning lines, running scenes over and over. So I've been entertaining and on the stage since I was a kid. Then in high school, I started to pick up the guitar, and I realized I was like, oh, wow, this is, like, really cool. The fact that I can, like, rock out on stage. You know, I was used to dancing on stage, you know, in a theater setting, and then once I saw rock and roll, I was like, wait, this is cool. So then I started to become a rock and roller. I started to write poetry, play the guitar. I then went to college for acting, and then it kind of all came together as I just started to learn myself more and more and realized that I'm a little bit edgy. I'm a little bit like a gypsy kind of hippie vibe, and so rock and roll was really fitting for me.
That's awesome. What about your music? What about your music is rebellious, unconventional, or unusual?
I would say my music is unconventional because I write what is on my mind, and I come from a background of poetry. So it's kind of like storytelling, and it's kind of like folky in the way that I present the story. So I'm going to jump into a song, and I'm going to serve the song as it is. You know, I'm starting to move into a realm of writing for more of a bigger audience as my audience grows. So my music started as really artsy, and I'm still honoring that. But I'm starting to write in a more mainstream commercial way because as I add more people to my audience, I want to be able to reach them all. So I'd say it's unconventional because I write for whatever the song is asking me to write for, whether it's like super straightforward, really artsy. I even can like do like hip hop influences, jazz influences, pop influences. It just depends on what the song wants.
What is your preferred genre?
Preferred genre? That's such a good question because I listen to so many different genres. I guess I'd say like classic rock and folk rock. And like the term classic rock is kind of funny because it's like classic rock means back in the day. However, that same feeling, you know, just like upbeat, smooth listening rock. And then I also like kind of like jam band folk rock that, you know, you can play a song. You know, if you cut the song in the studio, the song may be 4 minutes, but when you play it live, you play it for 7 minutes. I love music like that.
How do you deal with writer's block?
Oh, wow. So writer's block is kind of like a concept. The first time I got writer's block was in the middle of college, and it was probably having to do that I was in college and, you know, I was writing like term papers and all sorts of stuff that I was like, oh, I feel like there's a writer's block in my poetry. And then I wrote this one poem that was like called, you know, writer's block, and it's like about getting stuck between motive and plot. Welcome to my hood, my writer's block. And I just realized, I was like, oh, writer's block is this like place within myself I can go where I block myself, you know. And so there is no such thing as writer's block. We just have to write whatever comes to mind. And sometimes like last night I sat down to write a song, and I know exactly the concept of the song. I want it to be about the Wizard of Oz. I want it to be about, you know, that was one of the first musicals I was in. That was like one of the first songs I sang for the talent show when I was a kid. And it just has a lot of meaning for me because I was going through, like, people were bullying me at the time because I wanted to, like, play Dorothy and stuff. And so it's going to be a loaded song, but I sat down to write it last night. I was pretty tired or whatever. And I started to, like, get through the song, and I was like, you know what? I kind of like where this is going, but this isn't how I want the song to be. It was, like, too straightforward, and I want the song to be, like, kind of abstract, and then in the bridge or after the second chorus is when people go, oh, this is about the Wizard of Oz. Oh, I get it. I see where she's coming from. So, you know, with writer's block, it's like I write something, and then I might end up scrapping it, but it's a good creative brainstorming process to work towards the final product.
Right. I mean, when I get writer's block, it annoys me. I will sit at a blank page. I like to write things out. Sometimes I like to go on the computer, but I'm so old that I like to write things down with pen and paper and just see everything, you know, in front of me. But me, I normally have to just walk away, and then the next day I have to come back. Like I want to meditate on what I really want to say, because if I'm forced to write, it's going to come out. I know that's how I am. What is
really?
Yeah, I can't be forced to write. Oh my gosh, because all kind of crap will come out. It'll be nonsensical because I'll be forced to do it. I won't like the song and then all kinds of things. But where is the most unusual place that you think of the song? For me, it's in the shower. Like I want to create this app or this gadget that you can have in the shower that's waterproof. That if you have an idea, you just press the button and it records it. Because once I'm out of the shower, I can't remember a thing. So where is it for you?
That's hilarious. There's been sometimes, actually, one of my songs on my most recent full-length album, it's called A Tall Order. I was in the shower, and I just started to sing it to myself, and the chorus of the song started like, if only I could drink again. Now I ended up changing that to if only I could sleep again, because I think I was at a different juncture in my life. I was like, well, this is really vulnerable to be like, oh, this is also something about my life. If only I could drink again. Whatever. Besides that point, I was in the shower with shampoo in my hair, and I was like, wait, I got to get down this hook. I got to get the melody down, and I want it to be just like this. So I got out of the shower with shampoo in my hair, left the shower on, and voice recorded it on my phone.
Oh my God.
So I do voice memos. I'll keep my songbook and just write the title, like if a theme comes to mind. Car. I had this one funny experience where I was driving on my way actually to go co-write a song with someone. Okay. I was in the car, and just this melody comes up. So I'm like, okay, here we go. But, you know, I keep driving, grab my phone, turn on the voice memos, and then I just literally do this, like, first verse all the way through, word for word. The song is recorded the same. It was on my most recent album. It's called Turn On. I did word for word. It was like I practically freestyled it. However, after I got to, like, the chorus for freestyling, I was like, I got to keep going. This is epic, you know. I want to do it for word from the start. So then I'm like, well, what ideas do I have? So I'm driving, and I start looking around at the signs, and just at the moment that I'm like, what the heck do I say next? I look up to my left, and there's, like, a mattress store called the Dream Merchant, which is a funk song from the 1970s. And I was like, oh, just like a merchant of dreams. And then I look to my right, and there's, like, another sign, and they all kind of coexist. So if you are driving down Alameda below Cherry Creek in Denver, Colorado, and you see the Dream Merchant, turn on my song, because that whole street is that verse. It's like that sign, then that sign, then that sign. And it's funny how that all linked up. And I was in town because I lived in Denver like a couple of years ago. I was in town to perform some shows this past year. Drove down that street listening to my recorded song, and I was just like, this is the type of thing I live for, that transcendent moment of just being like, I did that. This is, like, special. And, you know, it can be special for other people too. Turn on the song, drive down the street, and experience the whole situation.
I love that, because on one of my albums, my album Unafraid, I needed one more song, and I was just like, oh my gosh, I can't think of anything else to write. I know what I want to do. And I was walking by a bus stop, and I saw a map, and then I said, well, that's a song. It's gonna be called Map, and one of the verses, like, get a map, get a clue. So it worked out. But I agree with you that your surroundings, things that you may see, are just perfect songwriting. And then you have a story that you can build on. So I love the fact that you did that one song and stuff like that. That's fantastic. Now, you've written 2 books. What are those books about?
Oh, the first book is over 300 pages. They're both poetry, but the first book has, like, poetry, photography, a couple one-act plays, which is essentially, like, a really long acting scene that has, like, a beginning, middle, and end, and defined characters. And then I have a few philosophical essays, because I took the writings from, like, when I started writing. So it's basically a compilation of stuff from age 14 up until when I put it all together at 25. So, you know, it's got, like, a couple things I wrote in college, which would be the philosophical essays. Mind you, I didn't write them for any classes. I just wrote them because I was in that flow of, like, researching stuff and writing my opinion about it. So that's the first book. That's called The Politics of, by me. So it's The Politics of Kendra Mickey, because it's by me. Those are on Amazon, Barnes & Noble, online. And then the second one is also poetry. It is one long poem. That one's just about 60 pages or so, and it's broken into 13 parts, and it's basically like, you know, I was going through a spiritual metamorphosis in my early 20s post-college, and I just wrote a long-form poem about it, which is pretty traditional for poets to do. You know, Allen Ginsberg, Walt Whitman, traditional American poets do, like, at least one long-form, you know, talk on their perspective.
Wow. That's awesome. Now, when do you have time to write for all of these publications?
Oh, that's a good question. I mean, so I'm kind of like a nocturnal night owl. Like, my hours are just like I'm up in the middle of the night until, you know, so I don't know. It's just like maybe those are writer's hours or whatever, but I generally am up writing like after dark, and I don't know where the hours come from. I just make time for it. And as I get more busy as an artist and as I get more busy as a person, I just, you know, I let projects take their time. Like, I'm working on the 3rd book right now, and if I sat here and thought about how I want to have it done in like a month, and I technically could have it done in a month, but I'd have to dedicate every single moment of my free time to it. I just realized I'm like, look, I got other stuff going on, and I'll write it when it comes to the top of my mind. However, your question is about writing for publications. Those are normally on deadlines.
Right.
So I'll just I've got a lot of experience with writing, so I know how long it takes me. If I'm writing a single review, it's going to be like 2 hours of time, plus like the formatting and stuff included in those 2 hours. If it's going to be like an album review, 3 hours. It's going to be a show review. Oh man, I love doing those because you go to the show, you meet the band, go backstage. But those take you go to the show, which is a couple hours, and then after that, it takes a long time to write a show review. So I'd say like a full day, including the show for a show review.
Wow, you're busy.
Yeah.
I thought I was busy because my head is about to spin off. But
yeah.
listening and reading everything that you do, my God. Well, you know what? You don't have a bored life. You are not bored. That's for sure.
Single, you know what I mean? I'm like, wait, I need to meet a guy, and I'm like, can I hire someone to help me find a guy? I'm like, wait, how do I because that's like another hour or so, but we'll see when God calls me to go towards that, in that direction.
Oh, I'm sure that there's many people that would love to date you. I'm sure they're out there, and I'm sure a lot of your fans want to date you.
Yeah.
But I understand about the single life. Because I've been actually single for over 5 years, and that's just because I've been focusing on myself, and I don't want to deal with a lot of BS.
Yeah.
And not everybody that
comes
in BS, but when you're at a juncture in your life and you know what you want and you're focused on your music, you want to find somebody that's minded, and you don't want to settle. So I understand. I'm with you, Kendra.
Yeah. Plus, to meet the right person who wants to grow with me, however they grow, is cool, because as we're women entrepreneurs in this lane where we're constantly making stuff happen for ourselves and for other people, it just, I've dated people before who that's been intimidating for, and I'm like, well, what do you mean it's intimidating?
Exactly.
It's all good.
You're doing your thing, and people need, anybody that comes into your life should be supportive. You'll be supportive of what you do, and they'll be supportive of what you do. That's basically what I'm looking for. And you know what? It'll come when it's supposed to. I'm not, it's not like my mom's always like, when are you going to get married? I'm like, when it happens, it's supposed to happen. But right now, I'm focusing on this. Maybe I'll meet the person through music. I don't know. But, I'm not alone. I'm too busy for that. So we're going to play your latest song, Self-Love Proclamation. Tell our audience about Self-Love Proclamation.
Well, what a perfect transition. Self-Love Proclamation is basically my complete acceptance of myself, and it's so interesting. I released it on February 12th. My birthday's on February 11th, and then Valentine's Day is on February 14th. So it was jam-packed. That week was self-love, self-love, self-love. So a lot of stuff came up for me to love myself about. And I was like, oh my gosh, I used to give myself so much trouble about being a certain way, and I'd just be like, oh gosh, I can't believe you're like this, and I wish I could change you, I guess, was what was going on in my subconscious. And then this whole week happened, and some of that same stuff came up, and for the first time I was just like, oh wow, I really like this part of myself. I like the fact that I'm, I don't know, vulnerable and put myself out there and work really hard, and those things used to be things that I dogged myself about in the mirror and been, or whatever. And then I put out this song, and then I was like, oh, wow, I really love all these parts of myself. So this is my song proclaiming self-love. Yeah.
Yeah, no, I love that because I had to learn to love myself. So I understand the whole aspect of things. And I didn't realize I didn't love myself for the longest time. And this was when I was a lot younger. And then I got into spirituality and stuff like that. No, I always tell people, love yourself first. So we're going to play a clip that you sent me of for the sponsor. It actually plays right well with the self-proclamation. So let's do it.
I recently came out with a new single that I got to feature on Chatting with Nat on our Instagram Live last week. It was so fun to debut the song. I'm so excited to be a part of the Chatting with Nat family. You can stream my new single, Self-Love Proclamation, on any major music platform. Just search Kendra and the Bunnies. You can also see my music video up on YouTube right now. Type in Kendra and the Bunnies, and I'll be right there waiting for you, ready to serenade.
Oh yeah, alright. Go ahead and rip it off like I haven't felt this before. Band-aids only last so long. Eventually, you gotta get down to the core. Well, they say what doesn't kill you makes you stronger. Every day I hold on a little bit longer. This dance is mine, just feel my vibe. Once you spin around, don't need no validation. Watch me, no time for explanation. Here's my self-love proclamation. Happiness is now what I long for. Yes, it is. Ain't wasting no more time locked behind that dark closed door. Well, they say what doesn't kill you makes you stronger. Every day I hold on a little bit longer. Watch me, no time for explanation. Here's my self-love proclamation. Need myself again. The big old devil will try me again, but I trust myself so much, I know I won't give in. No, this dance is mine, just feel my vibe. Watch you spin around, don't need no validation. Watch me, no time for explanation. Here's my self-love. This dance is mine, just feel my vibe. Watch you spin around, don't need no validation. Watch me, no time for explanation. Here's my self-love proclamation.
Fantastic.
Wow.
Loved it. You know, and
Yeah.
the thing is also is that if you can't love yourself, how do you expect anybody to love you back?
Man, it's so interesting because the things that we put out there are what we get back. So it's like,
Exactly.
you know, I'd love myself to a certain extent, and then I'd be confused why I was getting that back to myself.
Right.
And then, you know, so I guess I just started on the full journey of loving myself fully like last week, and it's been going pretty well. So, you know, yeah, I don't know. I'll come back to you with some more reports in like a couple months or something, but yeah, you know, like loving ourselves, it just feels nice to be like, oh, wow, this is me, this is who I am, this is cool. And yeah, it feels good. And it's so funny. As you were playing that song, I was just listening, being like, dang, I like this song a lot, too. So it's like I even love the song a bunch.
Well, that's the thing. That's the thing that's crazy about, that I find crazy about some musicians. Like, they can't listen to their own music. Like, if you don't love your music, how do you, it's the same thing. How do you expect people to love your music if you don't love it? Because whatever energy you're putting in your own song is what you're going to give out to the universe. So,
yeah.
You know what I mean? So when I do a song, I put out everything that I love, and I can listen to myself for hours. It's not about see. I have to love my music. You know what I mean? So,
yeah, there was like a learning curve for like my first couple songs where, I don't know, I think when I listened to my first album, like I love it. I love the songs, but I was so much in a beginner's place that when I listened to my first album, I'm just like, you're doing it. Like, keep going. This is amazing. You know what I mean? So, I don't know. Maybe I'll go back and re-record the first album just to, like, get all the production, because I did the first album myself, and, you know, like, that's cool. But I love listening to my own music. I love having producers remix my songs, too, because it's super cool to hear the lyrics and the vocals, like, to electronic tracks. I love that type of music, too. All of it, you know, and, you know, even after listening to this song a million times, because I, like, edited some videos and stuff for it, I still love to hear the track.
That's
still
awesome.
love to hear it.
That means that's it. I mean, I'll even go on YouTube on my TV, watch my own videos, and I'll say, oh, you go, girl, oh, you do your thing. I mean, but there are times, like, I was listening to an old song that I never put out, a song that I forgot, that my music producer did, like in 2013, and I listened to it, and I'm like, oh my God, this is I said, ooh, I'm glad my vocals are a lot better now. I mean, there's stuff that you're gonna be like, that was the beginner stage, and maybe I can just re-record this song, and I know I could do it better, because I've already told my music producer we're eventually gonna do this song over, because I've evolved tremendously. You know?
Right. But at the time, I was like, I gotta put something out there. I remember I was this was only a couple of years ago, but I was at the Musicians Institute studying in their independent artist program, and I was in this one class called Artist Identity, where they helped us build, like, you know, we came up with like a whole portfolio of different styles that we would wear on stage, red carpet looks, music video looks, all sorts of stuff. Then we did like press releases for ourselves. And I just got this one moment, like, in class, because I'd also been recording all these new tracks for my final project for the school. And I was like, wait, I just got this feeling in class one day, and I was like, I need to put this out there. Like, no waiting around. Like, this is good. So this is great for where I am right now. So put it out there, grow, and I created that foundation with what I had. And you know what? I will go back and re-record it, because you know, I was honoring where I was at the time, and those songs are really, really good. They're just, like, recorded in a simple way, you know, guitar, vocals, a little bit of mixing and mastering. And it got the job done and got me set on the path of where I am and where I'm going.
Awesome. Now, when you record your music, what tools do you use, or do you work with a music producer?
Now I'm working with music producers and studios. Like, next month I'm going up to San Francisco to record at Hyde Street Studio. A lot of cool people have recorded there. Like, Tupac did his debut album there. The Grateful Dead, one of my favorite bands, Jefferson Airplane, have recorded there. So there's going to be a lot of history that I feel like coming through that I'm channeling in my vocals. And, you know, even in the songwriting process, although I wrote all the songs here in LA, and then in May, I'm recording in Nashville with the same gal, Justine Blazer, who produced and did the organized the band and all that for this track we just listened to, Self-Love Proclamation. So, you know, I built from building on what we were talking about before. I built on that first album. I was like, put it out there. This is great for where you are. This is good enough. Then I did 2 more albums, self-produced. I use Logic. I play the guitar. I play the piano. I mix and master all that. And then I was like, okay, perfect. Like, you got it done. You know how to do everything. And so now I was comfortable going into the studio and dropping money to record, you know, because it's an investment. And I just wanted to make sure that I was completely, I mean, I knew I was all in, but I wanted to be like a veteran going into the studio. So I just like nail everything. Yeah, I don't know. That's just my own story. So now I'm working, and, you know, everyone has their own journey. So now I'm working with she's part of the Recording Academy, part of the Grammys. She's signed with Sony Music. That's my producer in Nashville. Then in San Francisco, my producer's also part of the Grammys. He's been an amazing guitarist, amazing musician. And, yeah, now I'm starting to open myself up to really well-curated and polished recordings.
My God, Justine Blazer must be the biggest songwriter on the face of the planet, because everybody's I've interviewed, I just wrote a song with Justine. I just wrote a song with Justine. I'm just like, wow. Right? Wow, and she's doing her own stuff, so it's amazing. I'm gonna have to get her on the show and ask her what she's drinking to get to be able.
I know, right? She's so cool, and she knows, like, she just writes really great songs. So like, I came into it with kind of like my artsy side. For Self-Love Proclamation, we co-wrote that together, and I was like, I want to do a song about self-love, but I want it to be more mainstream. So you know, I'd come up with these lines or whatever, and she'd be like, okay, perfect, I love that, but let's make it more understandable and accessible to a wider audience. So writing with her has been a really good exercise for expanding the way that I write and hear and see my music too.
Wow. We're going to play another one of your songs. Tell me about Tall Order.
Oh, so this was the one I was talking about that I wrote while I was in the shower, the hook of it.
Okay.
So this song, So this song is about, well, you know, it's about struggling with drinking, essentially, and just coming to terms where it's like, can't drink. I mean, I could, but it doesn't end up well. So this is my song of being like, you know, it is what it is. However, at the time, I was going through that moment of like, maybe I can drink, maybe I won't drink. So I wrote the chorus as, if only I could drink again. And then as I went to like start playing the song, I was like, well, I might be able to. I don't want to like tell everyone and then like years later decide something else. So I changed the chorus to, if only I could dream again. However, you know, I don't drink. It's like an allergy for me, meaning it's like Pringles. Once I pop, I can't stop.
I got it. All right. Well, we're going to have a word sponsor, and then we're going to play the song. Hold on.
Cool.
Hi, this is Nikki Chris, and I host a podcast called Mixin' It. Mixin' It focuses on women in the music, entertainment, and the performing arts. Our goal is to provide an avenue for industry veterans and up-and-coming artists, musicians, engineers, and producers to showcase their talent. Listen to Mixin' It on Monday Music Madness at 8 p.m. Eastern on the Sim Radio Network.
Life is weird, I'm on my way to the loony bin, yesterday. A really short time, I put the bill of the lineup I'm built to thrill. If only I could sleep again, I covered up, needy concealed, swing round and pray for deal. Swing round and pray for deal.
Once again, awesome. What I like about your style is you're very versatile. That I
Thanks.
can listen to you and I'm going to get something different every single time. And I love that about artists that can do that.
Yeah. Yeah, it's like there's different phases of our lives that we go through, and you know, it's perfect for being an artist because it's like, oh, what do I write about? And it's like, well, what have you been going through recently? Boom, there you go, story right there.
Exactly. I just love that. Let's talk about social media for a little bit because all artists have to go through the hell of doing it. I call it hell because you have to be on so many platforms and you have to make sure you're doing at least 5 or 10 or 15 a day. And I know there's platforms like Buffer that you can use. Nikki, my friend, my partner in crime, also likes to use it because it keeps her organized with doing all the social media stuff. But here's the problem with me. There are days where I'm like, oh, I don't want to post this. It has to go with my mood or something that I want to read. So I can't necessarily be that organized to be able to set it beforehand and it's just going to flow. Although it's nice to have it because you don't have to worry about it. How do you deal with posting on all of your social media platforms?
So there's a few different layers to this answer. First of all, I'm actually really passionate about social media. I don't know, maybe it's because I've always been like someone who loves being in the spotlight and I love doing like the humble brag. So the fact that like there's a platform where I can humbly be like, oh, in quotes, I'm doing quotes right now, air quotes, humbly brag, where I can be like, this happened, or I ventured over here and look at me in this cute outfit. I love that whole part of it. So I'm always like thinking about like, oh, this outfit would look really cute in a photo. And just like, I've always been someone who loves just like curating photos, getting it captured, sharing it with other individuals, because it plays into art a little bit with being like photography, styling, the right caption, all of that. However, on the flip side, I'm just like you where I'm like, I want to post something that goes with how I feel that day. Because when I look at my Instagram particularly, or when I look at social media, I like it to reflect and remind me of what I was doing at the time. Kind of like, I don't know, like a rotating art gallery of like what I'm doing at the time. You know, an art gallery maybe not necessarily because it's Instagram that I'm talking about, but I want to know what I was going through at the time and be able to relate to my audience in that way. However, there are days when I'm like, okay, I'm feeling a certain way, but I'll post something different. So I don't know, I get excited about it and I make it an extension of my art so that it's always something new, fresh, and something that's tantalizing for the audience.
I love that. I'm going to keep that in mind. I got tantalizing. If you could give advice to your younger self, what would you tell your younger self right now?
Okay, first of all, well, we just talked about it in the last song, so it would be like, get on the straight and narrow and stop being such a rebellious creature. Get in the theater, go to church every once in a while because you actually like being good. You forget that you like being good. On the other hand, go ahead and have fun because you do have a lot of fun and you write a lot of songs from that place. So first of all, that's what I would say to myself. So I guess to summarize that would be, it's okay to be yourself and you're unique and you're special. And I think one of the biggest things I'd say is that the way that other people treat each other is based off of really what they're going through at the time. And keep that in mind, that that also, I have this thing where I'll say something to someone and then I'll think about it all day, and I'll be like in bed at night trying to fall asleep, and I'm like, I can't believe I said that to that person. I sounded mean, or I can't believe I said that to that person. I sound like an idiot, or whatever it is. And just be like, they also know that I'm coming from a place of whatever was going on with me.
Right.
So just be easy on yourself. You're beautiful, you're kind, you're doing everything right, and, try to go to church a bit more or something.
I love that. Now tell our audiences where they can find you online.
So you can find me on Instagram. I'm at KenBunny, KenBunny. On Facebook, I'm Kendra and the Bunnies Music. On Spotify, Apple Music, YouTube, wherever you stream music, you can find me, Kendra and the Bunnies. I also have books on Amazon and Barnes & Noble. That's Kendra Muecke. Last name is spelled Muecke. And, yeah, if you Google my name or Google Kendra and the Bunnies, there's so much cool press out there, different interviews that I've been on, different podcasts I've been on, and there's so much to delve into. I also really like getting to know my fans because, this is like, people who listen to my music, I'm like, wow, these are interesting people if they like my music. So also, if you're a fan or someone new to the Bunny family, reach out and let's be friends, and welcome to the Fluffle. That's what a group of bunnies is called, a Fluffle.
You see, I'm always learning something with you. Fluffle.
Mm-hmm.
I may start using that word.
Fluffle.
Fluffle.
Mm-hmm.
Fluffle. Well, Kendra, once again, I've had an amazing, amazing, amazing time and chat with you. You always bring such a brightness and love to everything that you do and say. And I wish you so much success, but I don't even have to do that because you're already successful. And I hope to have you back with Nat.
Yeah.
You're amazing. You're amazing. Always remember that you are amazing. And this song, this song, Self-Proclamation, is much needed for the younger generation. They're going to learn so much from this song. And we'll be chatting with you again.
Thank you, Nat. That's so, so awesome. So great to chat with you. And I look forward to next time, too.
All right. Well, have a nice day. Thank you for being with me, Kendra. Love you.
Peace. Thanks so much. Much love.
Bye. Chatting with Nat is a podcast for independent women seeking to speak their truth and to break down barriers. We host honest conversations that help to guide and empower women. Speak your truth and set yourself free. Let your voice be heard.